Illuminati philosopher, and these are my thoughts. The King James Bible was created in 1611. Do you ever ask yourself why is it the most popular Bible in the world? 1611, early 17th century, by the English? The English? Why are the English controlling the narrative? If the information in the King James Bible is accurate, then everybody else should already have access to that information. Remember, the King James Bible was created in 1611, so why is it that the King James Bible is more popular than the Bibles before it? Because the English, King James 50 scholars, created information that the other Bibles did not have. It was a way of gaining power, letting everybody know that they have the divine knowledge that everybody else doesn't. Even the ancient Egyptians, Sumerians, etc., who were way before the English, did not have that knowledge. Which is weird, right? Well, the Protestant Reformation was a New World Order. They said it in so many ways: protest, reformation, renaissance, rebirth, new beginning, etc. The Protestant Reformation was clearly a New World Order, and when that happens, you can shape the world the way you see fit, and that is what the English did. Islam had their version as well. The English sent missionaries all around the world to propagate their narrative, and it worked, obviously. A lot of the information in the King James Bible, people around the world already knew, but the King James 50 scholars got creative. I'll give you a couple of examples. The King James 50 scholars' interpretation of Genesis was a big deal, game changer. However, the ancient Egyptians didn't talk about the Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel, or even the worldwide flood. Although the Adam and Eve story, the English took from the ancient Egyptians, the Nut and Geb story, which is a scandalous story, just like the Adam and Eve story. But the English put their twist on it. Nut and Geb were forbidden lovers and got punished for their transgression. The Adam and Eve story, similar story, right? Eve seduces Adam, they have sex, and they get caught. But who mainly gets in trouble? It's Eve that mainly gets in trouble. They both get in trouble, but mainly Eve. Well, it's the same thing with Nut. Nut is the one that mainly gets in trouble. So they took that story and they created the Adam and Eve, Garden of Eden thing, and then all of a sudden they pushed it back to the beginning of time. It's absolutely ridiculous. So in their version, the Nut and Geb story, the Almighty God was not present in their story, the Nut and Geb story. No Garden of Eden, and certainly not the beginning of time. These fake Egyptologists are going to come and say that, oh, Nut is the goddess of sky, and Geb the god of earth. Like, what nonsense is that? What does that mean? They are actual people. They were forbidden lovers, got separated, and punished. As far as the Cain and Abel story, that comes from the Sumerians, Gilgamesh and Enkidu. They were close like brothers, but they did something that they weren't supposed to do, and one of them had to die. The English took famous stories before their time and told their version, put their spin on it, and pushed it to the beginning of time, making them have divine knowledge. I can talk about the so-called Noah and the worldwide flood, but I'll talk about that for another video. Because it's wild, because Noah is actually much closer to our history than they say. Much, much closer, and that wasn't his name, apparently. And he is well known outside the Bible, and a lot of people are starting to despise this guy. Over the years, they started to despise this guy. We all know who he is. But anyway, now, the King James Bible is a fraud. It's absolute nonsense. There are major problems with their narrative, especially Genesis. Most likely, all the names that they give us are not accurate. They were obviously afraid of copyright because people would catch on to what they were doing, and the locations can and are misinterpreted. The timeline is all wrong, and a lot of our history is based off of this biblical timeline. The Protestant Reformation was to be acknowledged that it was a New World Order, and the King James Bible has to be severely questioned, and then we can start reinterpreting our history.